My website is a mess. Sure, on the front end it looks just fine, but it's all smoke and mirrors. Behind the surface, half the website is running on an older version of Silver Stripe and the other half is running on WordPress. This used to work, but the situation is now critical because the Silver Stripe part has both custom code and an old, no longer updated theme. So that makes updating the Silver Stripe part hard. And even if I could update it, switching to a theme is effectively switching two themes because I've got to update the Silver Stripe theme and then update the WordPress one to match. Added to that, the Silver Stripe portion is incompatible with PHP 8, which is keeping the entire website stuck at PHP 7.4. Meanwhile, some of my WordPress plugins have been updated to be PHP 8 only. They no longer work on PHP 7.4, so I can't update them. And finally, the entire website is on the slow side, and I think being stuck at PHP 7.4 is holding it back. So PHP 8 is supposed to be faster, and I want that extra speed because slowness results in a higher bounce rate as people give up on waiting for the page to load, so they bounce back, and this can hurt your search engine rankings, which means fewer people visiting the website. And slowness also causes higher shopping cart abandonment rates. And both of those add up to fewer sales, which is bad for business and bad for me because I need my business to provide enough for my family. So in this video, I'm going to show you the entire conversion process from start to finish, as well as the final results. Will updating to PHP 8.3 boost this website's performance? We'll find out once the conversion is done. But first, the elephant in the room. How did I end up with such a two-faced Frankensteinian website in the first place? So back in late 2011, when I founded my company, I decided to use Silver Stripe for its website. Why? Because I had a friend who worked at Silver Stripe and he showed it to me and I thought it looked great. Not the best reason, but decision made, can move on. Initially, everything looked good. I got the website up and running and eventually opened my store when I had something to sell using Silver Stripe's e-commerce add-on. Alas, that was not to last. Silver Stripe's main customers seemed to be government organizations, including the DNC's website when President Obama was running for office. And governments have no need for e-commerce modules because they just take money straight out of your pocket via taxes and inflation. Stupid government, always getting in people's way, always causing trouble. While there were some attempts to create a good e-commerce module for Silver Stripe, it quickly became clear to me that they just wouldn't get enough momentum to deliver what I needed. In particular, nobody else would integrate with it. So I wanted to connect my shop with my accounting software, Xero. And Xero provided, they wrote themselves integrations for WooCommerce, Shopify, BigCommerce, and other big players. But if you're using the Silver Stripe, well, I'd have to write it myself. Likewise, want to connect your store to a print-on-demand provider or a third-party logistics provider? Great, they have integrations for WooCommerce, Shopify, BigCommerce, and others, but not Silver Stripe. And the list went on from, as I say, print-on-demand and third-party logistics to payment processors, the lot. Integrations galore for WooCommerce, Shopify, and the other big players, but if you're using Silver Stripe, then you're on your own. And I simply didn't have the resources, nor was it wise for me to write the integrations myself or pay someone else to do so. So I decided to switch to WooCommerce. However, there was no easy way to convert my Silver Stripe website, which had a sizable number of pages already, to WordPress. So I took the easy way out. I put WooCommerce in a subdirectory of the website and paid a guy to make it look like the main Silver Stripe website. And that worked okay for a while, just some minor inconveniences here and there, like having two separate logins. But trouble was brewing. And it's now reached a critical juncture where this mess must be cleaned up. And that's what I'm going to do now. So I've already scouted for tools to do this ahead of time, hoping to find something that was 100% automated. Of course, they didn't exist. There were some concierge services that would do it for you for a pretty hefty fee. The best tool I could find was a plugin called WP Scraper for WordPress. So it can scrape pages of a website and import them into yours if you've got a WordPress site. I'd still have to do some manual rework, but it should save me a lot of time as I convert 221 blog posts and 30 to 40 pages from Silverstripe to WordPress. So after some initial experimentation on a staging site, I decided to go for it. And the scraper totally ruined the formatting of the source code blocks in my blog. And those, being a technical blog covering programming, I have blocks of source code that I want people to see, and it's completely ruined. I end up with everything on one long line, which is horrible. I tried copying and pasting those, but it was pretty clear. I've got lots of these little blocks through the blog. This is going to cost me a huge amount of time, and not to mention it's error prone. So I checked the scraper's source code and discovered that it was stripping the new line and carriage return characters out. So it would put everything in one long line, which for HTML code is normally okay, but when you have a pre-formatted block, those new line characters are critical. They need to be in there. So I hacked the WP Scraper code to stop it from removing the new line characters. And while I was at it, I also did some other tweaks to minimize the rework I had to do, including automatically fetching the blog post date, so I don't have to manually enter that too. I would still have to manually check and rework some things, but it's a huge step forward from manual copying and pasting. With that done, I was ready to do the real conversion. But first, a full backup of the entire website so that if something goes seriously wrong, I can always restore it back to where it was just before I started. First step I did was actually not to start importing the pages, but to change the permalinks for the blog posts to match the original website. So on the original website, all blog posts were at /blog/ whatever the URL was. And because I want, especially for search engine rankings, I want the pages to remain where they are. So I matched it in WordPress to what the original Silverstripe website was. Then created the base blog page and installed a plugin to make the blog main page look roughly like the original. And at that point, I can start importing. So with WP Scraper, you have to tell the scraper where to find the parts of the page that you want to import. So the title, the actual content, the blog categories, tags, the featured image, and all that sort of stuff. And once you've done that, you click the button and you just let it go. So I started with a batch size of 10, just if something goes wrong, not too many pages. And here's a comparison of the scraped blog pages with the original. Everything's looking good, but a batch size of 10 is a bit too slow. I've got 221 blog posts to convert. So I decided to increase it to 20 by changing the original blog's pagination. And from here, it's just rinse and repeat, do this until all of the blog posts and all of the pages are done. All right, I have all of the blog posts and pages converted. Now I want to import the images into WordPress's media library. So I originally disabled WP Scraper's image import code because I wanted to switch the rescaled images to the original images to match the larger blog layout. And 221 blog posts is a lot, but it's not enough to really justify completely reworking the WP Scraper plugin to do everything that I needed. Now, there's a trade-off between the time spent reworking the plugin to automate things and the amount of work it actually takes to import all the blog posts. So, yeah, I disabled that so I could manually check and fix up any images. But now I want to import the images into WordPress. And for that, I use the Auto Image Upload plugin. However, I had to hack the code again because the Auto Upload plugin doesn't import images from the same domain because normally you don't want to import them. So I tweaked the code to import images that are stored within Silverstripe's assets directory. And that was basically just a, push the button and let it do its thing. The basic conversion is all done, but I felt that the updated site, the converted site, looked a little bit ugly. The storefront theme just didn't do it. So I installed a new theme, set about customizing it. I have some custom code from the old child theme that needed to be copied to the new one to keep particular functionality. After that, I recreated the menus because they were previously baked directly into the child themes templates. Now that this is a full WordPress website, we use proper menus. And after that, I had a whole set of redirections to create. So I have these sort of bounce URLs where it's a simple URL for people to type in, and then it sends them, redirects them to the right page. So I had to recreate those. So a few more customizations, and then it's once again time to create a full backup before doing anything else. At this point, Silverstripe was still running. It still got the same hybrid website. So time to remove that and put WordPress at the domain's root. And to do that, I needed to copy WordPress from its location in the store subdirectory to the root. And I did that using an SSH terminal because moving it via FTP would mean downloading everything and uploading everything again on the same server, which is be very slow and doesn't make any sense. So I've copied it to the same application containing the WordPress database. So when I added WooCommerce, I put the WordPress database in a separate application because I didn't know that you could put the Silverstripe and the WordPress data in the same database side by side. They wouldn't clash. So I know that now, but I didn't know that at the time. So files copied. Next, I transfer the domains over to the new application, and disaster. The website isn't working. So after some troubleshooting and tweaking files here and there, I got it up and running again. So I published all the blog posts and the pages. I fixed the store's permalinks because I want the products and everything to be at the same location that they were with the original website at /store/products, whatever. Again, so that these search engines don't have to find them again. I don't lose my search engine rankings there. And what did I do after that? Oh yeah, I had to reconnect the payment gateways. I had to reconnect Zapier. I had to adjust the Zapier's API callbacks for particular things because the URL has moved from /store something down to the root. And after this, I had even more redirects to do. So, there are some pages that have been moved and I need to redirect them from the old location to the new one. So at this point, I thought I would be finished. Yay, but no. The images on all of my sales funnels were missing. And Kia Campus's pages were broken too. And I didn't know why. After metaphorically tearing my hair out for a while, I finally discovered that OptimizePress has a special way of storing the page data that is different from everything else. And so my original way to update the URLs for everything didn't work on them. So I installed the Helper 3 plugin that they said would do the conversion for me, and it failed. Or did it? After some rounds of cache flushing, and the images finally appeared. And I could go to bed in the early hours of the morning, exhausted, but happy that the website conversion was done. And the website's working. People can access things people can buy from the shop. Awesome. So how did I do? Is this website faster? Did I achieve my goals? Yes, Silverstripe is gone and the website is fully functional. The conversion to WordPress only is done, so I can tick off that goal. Done. The website is updated to PHP 8.3. I've been able to update all plugins, so that's done. Check. As for the performance boost, let's look at the data. I recorded some page loading speeds before and after. So the blog post loading went from 3.7 seconds down to 0.96, which is awesome. The store page went from 1.3 seconds to 1.25 seconds. So almost no change. That's disappointing. The add to cart went from 2 to 2.15 seconds, so slightly worse, but roughly the same again. That could just be random variations. Reloading the cart page went from 2.9 seconds to 2.8 seconds. I'm starting to see a pattern here, no change. Disappointing. The checkout page went from taking 8.8 seconds to be fully loaded to 7.7 seconds, which is better, but still pretty horrible. And finally, the Kia Campus homepage went from taking 8.7 seconds up to 9.4 seconds. So really, really, really disappointing. The ultimate incriminating evidence is Google's Core Web Vitals report. It now says that all of my pages need improvement on the desktop machine, and a large number of them are now considered poor on mobile. So things have gotten worse. That's disappointing. Really, really disappointing. What happened to PHP's amazing new JIT compiler that would compile things to native code, and I've been told achieves large performance boosts for websites? Well, it turns out that this JIT is disabled by default due to teething issues, i.e. some websites crash with it enabled. So I have requested that my hosting provider enable JIT, the PHP JIT, on my server, but I am still waiting for it to be actually done, for it to be enabled. Looking at the Core Web Vitals graph a few weeks later, enabling PHP 8 JIT did help a little bit, but not enough. I think one of the core problems is the underlying Apache server. This is an Nginx plus Apache server combo setup. I think that Apache server is on the slow side. I don't know if there's a configuration issue there, but it's on the slow side. So caching can hide this for static websites. So for example, the blog posts, that's why the blog posts are relatively fast. But it's of no use for dynamic pages, like if you've got people visiting an online store, a social media site, forums, or things like that. And I have an online store, and I have an educational campus. So yeah, it's slow. All that, and I have some evil douchebag bots continually trying to hack user accounts on my website, and that of course wastes server resources. I've noticed that I have these periodic high server loads, not that often, maybe a few times a day, where the site reaches 100% CPU usage and it slows down for everyone. So not good. It's running on a 2-core server, which I think should be okay. I think for a website on my size and traffic, I shouldn't need an expensive high-end server, especially as I'm already using a CDN like Cloudflare, and I've got caching and all sorts of things. On the right side, I now have a nicer looking WordPress-only website, which makes it much easier to move forward. However, this is not over. I still need to fix this poor performance. Right? That was one of my goals. I want the website fast, so to reduce the number of people that bounce. I want the people who are buying to not be left waiting to the point where they give up. So this is to be continued. See you next time.